Today I'm going to show you 5 days worth of meal prep. Well, enough for 5 meals. So what I'm starting off with is stuff that I'm basically cleaning out my freezer. I've got some bakes here that I picked up from Waitrose that have been sitting in the freezer for ages. I'm also chopping up some onion and some butternut squash, and my plan for this is to make that into like a pasta dish with the veg being made into a sauce and the bakes being turned into a crumble on top. Now obviously if I'm doing 5 meals, 4 of them isn't going to quite do it, so you'll see what I'm going to do with that later just to make it stretch a little bit further. So what I'm also doing is trying to get as many things going as possible all at the same time, because if I'm turning the oven on, I want to get everything done together. After all, that's the point of meal prep. So this is the lunch part. This is just some homemade kimchi that I am putting in the oven to roast, just to get all caramelized and just to kind of concentrate that flavor. So that is going in there as well. You can see I've also got the seeds from the butternut squash in the little corner there. So that is mainly like the savory part. Now, breakfast wise, I'm going to make a banana oat loaf thing. So I've got 4 bananas there in the background. They're not moldy, they are frozen, so that's what the white on them is. They've been sitting in my freezer again for ages and I keep forgetting about them, so what I'm doing is making them into banana bread. And you'll see when I start opening them up, they're pretty squishy, and they turned out really well with this. So yeah, you can see it being opened up there and they're like super soft, so perfect for banana bread. I've also got some salted crushed peanuts that I've had kicking around for a while, half a bag of chocolate that's been in the cupboard for ages. This is mainly kind of cleaning things out, but it worked really well. And last but not least, a bit of peanut butter just to make it kind of a complete thing for breakfast. And with this is kind of taken from my banana oat loaf recipe, which I will put a link to below. That is just the baking powder that I like to put in last, just so it doesn't kind of run out of oomph before you manage to get it in the oven. So I always chuck that in last. And yeah, just give it a good mix, get it in the oven, and that will be everything ready to go in the oven. So we're making the most of the energy that's being used there. Okay, now while all this is cooking in the oven, it was about a 200-degree oven for about 20 minutes that all of this went in there. I'm going to get some other things going. Now, I'm going to make some rice, and I'll talk you through how I make rice, because I'm fed up of seeing people messing up rice, making it into sludge, and oh god, it just annoys me because it's so simple to do. What I'm doing is I'm just doing like a kind of stingy cup of rice. I've got 3 cups there, so this is for 5 meals. And then what I'm doing is I'm filling that cup right to the top with water. So it's effectively 1-to-1. You just want a little bit extra water just to go in there, but not too much. And what you do is you bring that to the boil, leave it covered, and just leave it. And it will steam and it will boil and it will turn out lovely and fluffy. So it's really simple to do. I've also got some pasta, as you saw there, and while everything's cooking, I'm also getting kind of like a coleslaw type thing made to go with the pasta, which is just red cabbage and some carrot. It's really simple. It's not even going to be dressed because you're going to have the sauce with the pasta, but it's just that's kind of like a little bit extra to go with it. Plus as well, the red cabbage needed using up and it was getting a bit kind of weird and dry, and yeah, gets it used up. So I've just kind of sliced everything up here, and this is just getting everything prepped while things are in the oven, things are cooking, just making the most of that time. So all of this meal prep beginning to end really did not take long at all. So once everything is cooked, we're going to start off by making a pasta sauce. So I've got the butternut squash and the onion that has been roasted. That is going in a blender, and what I'm putting in there with that is some nutritional yeast, some pickled red peppers. I get these from Lidl all the time. I absolutely love them. They're just lightly pickled, so it gives you a nice flavour. So a little bit of that is going in there. Just make sure to take out that like white bit in the middle and any seeds that are in there. nutritional yeast, which I've already said, a little bit of soy sauce for some seasoning, and just some soy milk to give it that kind of creamy sauce and just to get everything to a nice sauce consistency, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit too thick. Now with this, because it's going to be sitting in the fridge for a little while, I am going to put this on the bottom of the tub so you can see what it's like there. I'm using these kind of takeaway tubs that we've got sitting in the cupboard because they're not recyclable and I don't want them to just go in the bin, so they get used as much as possible. So the sauce is going in the bottom so it stops the pasta from getting too soggy. Then on top of that we're going to be putting on the pasta. Next to that we'll have the coleslaw. So again, I'm trying to keep everything a little bit separate so it doesn't get soggy and nasty while it sits in the fridge for a few days. Now, with these bakes, what I'm doing is splitting them up and turning them into like a crumble on top of the pasta. So when that all gets mixed in, you've got the sauce, you've got some chunky bits, and you've also got your veggies for a bit of crunch. So it's got lots of nice textures in there. And they're red pepper bakes, which goes with the pasta sauce as well, so everything ties in nicely. Now, I've got 3 in tubs and 2 in bowls because the ones in bowls Leo is going to have while I'm at work. The ones in tubs I'm going to take to work. So it's 5 days worth, but it's being split across the 2 of us. These ones are for lunches. So this is going to be kimchi fried rice. So I've got my kimchi, I've got a little bit of sweet corn, I've got some frozen green beans, which I'm just snapping up and putting in there. And again, I'm putting everything on the bottom and the rice on the top because you don't want the rice to go soggy. You want it to go dry so that when you do like fried rice, all the grains are separate and lovely. And then we've got a little bit of orange pepper here that I'm just chopping up and putting in there. What I've also got is some tofu. Now I had some silken tofu that was going out of date, so I threw it in the freezer. And what you can do is a lot of the water comes out of it then, it's a lot more hardy, so I'm just squeezing all of the water out of it there. You can see kind of how rough you can treat it, and I'm just throwing that in there as well. So another thing cleared out the freezer. And that is my rice. So it was brought to the boil, covered, and then left to steam for about 15-20 minutes, and you can see how perfect it comes out. It's so easy to make rice properly. So yeah, it really offends me when people do it badly. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the rice on top there, and that is all ready to go. The rice will dry out a little bit, so it'll be perfect for fried rice. Everything's on the bottom ready to go, and it just needs to be thrown in a pan, a little bit of water, and it's ready to go. Now, last but not least, can't forget about our loaf. Came out very rustic, but it's still going to taste just as good. And what I'm going to do to save time is just slice it up ready to go now. It made quite a lot, so that was enough for both of us to have it repeatedly with cups of tea and all sorts. So I just chopped it up and put it in an airtight tub so that it didn't go nasty. And it's ready to go. So that is everything. We've got a breakfast loaf, we've got 5 portions of fried rice with everything on the bottom, again to stop it going soggy. And we've got our pasta dishes as well, we've got 5 of those, once again with the sauce on the bottom. But also, not forgetting those seeds that I took out of the butternut squash, they've gone in Leo's bowls and they're all ready to go.